now it's time to introduce the candidates running for a position as Commissioner for the Port of Kennewick. They are in alphabetical order, Skip Novakovich and Reil. Each of you have 1.5 minutes for an opening statement. Again, alphabetical order. Skip, you're up first.
Great, thank you. Is this working? Yeah. I hope?
Kind of.
Okay, kind of. Well, I can talk loud enough without it, I think. People wonder, what port districts do and stuff, and there's a lot of information about that. People don't really understand that ports were given legislative authority to do economic development and do a lot of other things. And that's one of the things I'm really proud of that the Port of Kennewick has done during the time that I've been there. The Port of Kennewick, in the 8 years that I've been there, I've served 5 of those years as the Port Commission President. I'm the current Port Commission President. You've seen the levy rate that the port charges taxpayers on their property go from 44 cents a thousand down to 33 cents a thousand. At the same time, you've seen the equity that you, as constituents of the Port District, have in the Port of Kennewick rise by 300%. So the tax rate you're paying has gone down, your equity has gone up, and the port right now has absolutely no debt. And we have a lot of huge projects such as Vista Field, Columbia Gardens, the Willows, Clover Island, the racetrack out in West Richland. And all of these projects we're going to look at developing without raising taxes. We're going to do it as a pay-as-you-go by coming up with creative means. One of those, a great example would be the Corps of Engineers looking at doing our shoreline. And I've got a brief time here, so it's about a $4 million project of which the Corps will pay 75%, and we're responsible for 10.
Mr. Reil.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. I hope you can hear me in the back. It's good to be here. I think it's really interesting when you're running for an elected position. Really, the only qualification you need is to be 18 and a resident of the district. Maybe a registered voter would help too. So I think you need to know a little bit about my qualifications. I've served 34 years as a hospital commissioner for the Kennewick Public Hospital District Board. I've been president of that board. I've been president of the Benton Franklin Council of Governments. I've been chair of the Kennewick Citizens Bond and Levy Committees. I'm president of Adult Day Services. It's an elder care and elder health service that we provide. I volunteered my talents for the Benton Franklin Fair and Rodeo, Miss Tri-Cities, Richland Players, Mid-Columbia Ballet, Mid-Columbia Symphony. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, Vietnam era. After the Air Force, I joined the Air National Guard and served there for many years. I have a Bachelor of Science degree from Washington State University in agricultural mechanization. In addition to ag classes, I took accounting, business law, marketing, economics, as well as a number of other business classes, and maintained a grade point of 3.6. My work history is I worked at the Benton PUD for 21 years. I'm a successful businessman. I own Real Life Photography, and I also owned a manufacturing company for many years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reil. We'll now move on to the questions for these candidates. Once again, in alphabetical order, Mr. Novakovich, you are up first. Here's your question.
Thank you.
The average citizen probably is not very aware of port activities. What do you feel the voters should know about what the Port of Kennewick does?
Well, I think the main thing they need to realize is that they do pay taxes to the Port of Kennewick, and what do they get for those tax dollars? And I talked a little bit about that when we started, but port districts are given authority in 1911. The Port of Kennewick was formed in 1915 to do a very variety of things, economic development being one of them. But what people don't realize is port districts can do a lot of other things. At the Port of Kennewick, what we pride ourselves with is partnering with other people to leverage other jurisdictional partners to come up with the best possible way that we can take the money that you pay these jurisdictions and give you the most for your money. So port districts probably will never, ever be given, or no other entity will ever be given the jurisdictional wherewithal to do what port districts have. We've been told that by the legislature. I guess in some instances they're a little afraid of what the powers they've given the port. So I think people need to just realize what port districts can do, what they pay their tax dollars for, and then take a look at what we're doing. We're creating jobs. We're bringing people to the area, creating businesses. For example, the time that I've been there, we've created 1,100 new jobs. Vistafield alone will put $400 million on the tax rolls to fund schools and public infrastructure, and it'll create over 3,200 jobs. And I think that's what port districts do. I think that's what people need to realize.
Mr. Reil?
Question.
Yes, I can. The average citizen is probably not very aware of port activities. What do you feel the voters should know about what the Port of Kennewick does?
Well, let's take that back a little bit and look at, why maybe do the voters not have a good understanding of everything that the district is doing. I think one of the things is, getting the information out there. For instance, the board meets at, in the afternoon, early afternoons on the second, fourth Tuesday of the month. When can people come to that? When I worked at the Benton PUD, we had a board meeting during the day, one board meeting during the day, and one board meeting at the night, so people had the opportunity to come. The other thing is maybe it would help if there were more community involvement. At the hospital district, we have a number of boards that we encourage public talented citizens to come and serve on. We have our finance committee where we have people with CPAs and banking experience. We have our planning committee where we have people with degrees in that and people that have worked in a number of things, realtors and different people that are being on that, and a number of committees. And I think perhaps it would help to do that. Yes, the port has done a lot of great things. They've created a lot of jobs, but are these high-paying jobs that can support a family? I would like to look, as we look to the future, beyond the Vistafield project, beyond our efforts down here on Columbia Drive, to do some things that result in economic development more in an industrial nature, to partner with other people, to bring in jobs that bring a lot of money in, that help support the community and can support families.
Mr. Reil, you're up first for question number 2. It came from the audience. Many people in the community don't feel that they should foot the bill for facilities they won't use. Can you explain why something like a wine village would be beneficial to all in the city of Kennewick?
Well, that is interesting. I think most people know that I don't drink. And we're supporting, and when we drive into Kennewick, we see this big sign that says, "Welcome to wine country." I think, I remember when we used to grow grapes, where Park Middle School is now. I like grape juice, okay? I don't have any problem if people want to drink and everything else. But yeah, I do think we need to look beyond other things. And one of the things I think the port is doing is they're looking at partnering for a culinary school with CBC to help, chefs can make a lot of money and do some things like that. As far as, I just think we need to look beyond where we're doing now and start planning for the future. And I think we need to have public input to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Reil. Mr. Novakovich?
Well, the wine village is only part of what the Port of Kennewick is doing. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is going to have various other things. We may have specialty shops. We have a barbecue company that's willing to come in. We've got people across the street that are investing money in creating jobs because of what we're doing. We cleaned up a very crime-infested area. One of the Holt motels that was there was one of the highest crime rates in the Tri-Cities. Clover Island itself was crime-infested. We've cleaned that up. We've built public amenities there for people to enjoy. And what this all does is it creates an area, as will Vistafield in the future, where families can come, enjoy the area. It's not just about the wine village. That's just part of it. That's just a start. So there's a lot more to be involved. It's going to be a family-friendly place, is already. There's a lot of events that are happening on Clover Island that people are enjoying, and they're starting to put faith back into the east end of Kennewick, downtown Kennewick, and trust it to be a safe place that they can take their families and enjoy it. And that's what we're up to. Wine Village is just a start.
Question number 3. Mr. Novakovich, you're up first again. The Port of Kennewick covers approximately 485 square miles. It includes several municipalities and land that's used for multiple purposes, including agriculture, industrial, and commercial. What criteria should be used to prioritize projects throughout the Port District?
Well, that's pretty easy. We've got 6 jurisdictional partners, obviously. We have the city of Richland, West Richland, Benton City, we constructed, in Kennewick obviously, we constructed an MOU with the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation. We've got Benton County. So we look at what our jurisdictional partners want. In 2010, when I first came on, we established a policy of that we would partner with our jurisdictional partners as they put skin in the game. So in other words, we don't want people coming to us just with their hands out. We want them to participate in whatever that we do. So we've built trails with West Richland. We're looking at providing some funding for West Richland to do things down in the old Y area. Obviously in Kennewick, we've done a lot of things. Southridge, if you know about that, all that land was Port of Kennewick land originally. So we spearheaded that and prompted that to go forward. We've partnered with the City of Kennewick on a lot of things. The Confederated Tribes have been extremely supportive of when we needed permitting for in-water type things. And it's just a partnership thing, and we'll take a look at anybody that comes to us with what they want and find out if it's beneficial to all of our constituents, not just the general area.
Mr. Reil?
Well, as you've already heard, the Port District runs largely on tax money. I think it's important that as we look to the future, that we be careful that that tax money isn't creating undue competition with our local business and industry. I think we need to be more involved in partnering to bring things in that that maybe couldn't happen without the port. For instance, when I was president of the Regional Council of Governments, we established a loan program to help people that had good ideas and could bring jobs in, and but just couldn't get the financing. So with the government grants, we were able to do that. And it was kind of a revolving fund. As the money was repaid, then it would go out to other people that just had a hard time. That was chaired by bankers, investment people, and everybody to come in to make sure these people were qualified to pay the money back. Okay? As far as partnering with other jurisdictions, that's great, but all these other jurisdictions run on tax money too. If we want to partner, we partner with private industry. If we've got somebody that's got the talent and they've got everything else, but they just don't have the capital to bring in and build a building, we've got some land. We've got some money. What can we do to bring that in, make that happen, and again, create jobs that provide family wages?
All right, Mr. Reil, final question, and you will answer first. In your opinion, is there potential for a specific type of business or light industry that isn't already in place that the Port of Kennewick should help facilitate?
I think as you look around, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And the port belongs to a number of state and regional and national organizations that have conferences where you get to rub shoulders with other people and you find out what's working in other places. How did you do it? Okay? And as a commissioner, I would be very involved in that. What worked for them? What were things that, are more regional based? You're not creating with everybody's got an eBay store, You use the tremendous brain power that we have in the Tri-Cities and leverage that with the resources that something like the Port District can offer. But I'd say, look what's happened to other places that have been successful, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can improve on the wheel, and I think Tri-Cities is known for that.
Mr. Novakovich.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes. In your opinion, is there potential for a specific type of business or light industry that isn't already in place that the port should help facilitate?
Well, I think the port would look at facilitating any type of business that would benefit the community, create jobs, provide family wage jobs. For example, the port does have some land, and Vista Field is one of those. And what we did is, you've heard about the Vista Arts Group that's looking to building Performing Arts Center. Well, we entered into an agreement with them. If they meet certain criteria, we're going to sell them some land at a very, very reduced rate. I was asked by realtors about that are you competing with the private sector? Absolutely not. That's not something we want to do. We want to be extremely transparent. We don't want to compete with the private sector. They said, well, what about the wine village? That property sat there for a long time. The private sector couldn't fund the wine village. It wouldn't pencil out. It wouldn't make sense. That's where the port steps in, provides the land, provides the infrastructure, provides whatever is needed to create those jobs so that the private sector can move forward and earn an income, be economically viable, and provide for this community in amenities that don't exist, businesses that don't exist. And as far as providing new businesses, what kind of businesses they are, they would have to be compatible with our master plan and what we have planned for Vista Field, which is based on implementing exactly what the public wanted. We had no input into Vista Field at all from the commission side or the staff side. We're implementing exactly what the public said they wanted to have done.
Thank you both. Let's all give a big round of applause for these candidates. Nice job.